तो दोस्तों इस बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक पे हमने 2 एपिसोड कर लिए। तीसरा जो एपिसोड है उसमें हमारे आस्क द गेस्ट के सारे क्वेश्चंस का हम आंसर अपने गेस्ट से लेंगे। तो बिना टाइम वेस्ट किए सीधा शुरू करते हैं आस्क द गेस्ट का सेगमेंट। सो गाइज एक्चुअली हम लोगों ने सोशल मीडिया पे पोस्ट किया था और एक हमारा सेक्शन है आस्क द गेस्ट, जिसमें हम हमारी ऑडियंस को अलाउ करते हैं कि आपसे वो सवाल पूछे। काफ़ी सारे सवाल है, उसमें से कुछ बहुत बेसिक सवाल भी हैं, कुछ सवाल ऐसे हैं जिनका हम जवाब दे चुके होंगे। सो आई लाइक टू टेक दोज क्वेश्चंस, एक एक करके आप लोगों से पूछता हूँ। एनी वन ऑफ यू कैन टेक इट एंड ऑल ऑफ यू कैन टेक इट एज वेल। पहला सवाल है, हाउ कैन वन बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ द म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री, नॉट द आर्टिस्टिक बट द बिजनेस साइड ऑफ इट?
So I think a lot of kids write and ask how they can get jobs, and my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that now the system has become कि जिसको भी hire करना होता है, जिस company को hire करना होता है, वो LinkedIn पे अपने jobs डालते हैं। और see, because I've been in the industry, लोग पूछते हैं भाई आप इससे बात कर लो, उससे बात कर लो, but no matter who your relationships are with, वो हमेशा कहते हैं देखो जब हमको requirement होगी हम LinkedIn पे डालेंगे, let the candidate apply. If they pass the first round, उसके बाद आपकी recommendation हम we'll seek your recommendation or whatever, उससे पहले मत कीजिए. So the actual answer is if you're looking for a job in the music industry, look on LinkedIn.
I have a addition to that, and I think it's, in my view, outside of this really hard, long podcast with such collective experience, and thanks to you putting it together, this is the most important thing, because I started at 19 years old or 20 and I didn't know any better. There's no internet, no music television, no music radio, no record labels, except for CBS, wo time pe, and you're talking about 89, 90, right? I was a dropout. In fact, I don't even think I reached respectable college thing. And there were just 2 magazines at that point of time, Upbeat and Jet Set, and I had no idea what to do. I didn't know. So one part,
Sun magazine. Excuse me.
I stand.
This is 3 old people talking about
Yeah. And us time pe, see, the first thing, it is ideal to say know what you want to do, which is relevant in today's time. Because today, for you to know what took us 20, 30 years and what 15 years, today it is possible for you to know in 10, 12, 15 years, right? Yes. Because of learning is faster, more intelligent, internet, blah, blah, blah. The second part is, even if you don't know what you want to do, it's fine. This has got nothing to do with the music industry. Mm-hmm. It has got to do with entrepreneurship or any freaking industry. Yeah. Just get up, move your ass, land up at a conference, either land up at an AAM. Don't hustle people. Don't send people a hi on LinkedIn. Nobody's got time. Don't come back saying, hey, here's my... Just because I accept your request. You know what? I don't think anybody accepts your request just because we want to make friends. You accept your request because it's a corporate communications tool.
Yeah.
Number 3 is either be specific, and you may not be... If you say, I want to be a manager, you may, after 5 years, decide you want to be a label head or whatever, start a label. That is all fine. And if you don't know what you want to do, just figure out a smart way, like you would do for anything else, to approach people a little more respectfully, a little more seriously. And there is nothing like persistence. Sometimes just show up and learn to work for free. I worked for free for a year and a half. My first money learned as a follow spot operator was 200 rupees by my first boss, Viraf Pocha, who's a lighting designer on a fashion show. So either work hard, because you are not entitled, right? If you keep those in mind, I think it's very easy. The second part, I think, which is, and this is to the music industry and perhaps for all of us, I don't think that there are enough internships programs for the music industry. I think whether it's for All About Music, whether it's for all our individual businesses, that if we focus and concentrate on creating where the rubber meets the road, literally. I mean, today's kids, they've got brighter years. They're certainly a lot smarter. People have more exposure. We have to keep replenishing our own ranks. And this is a personal mission. It doesn't mean we're going to hire 1,000 people. But if we focus on a very clear internship program that is outside of functional internship, outside of legal, outside of technical, outside of finance, I think we'll have a better cadre of executives. So certainly, yeah.
It's a food for thought, for
Yeah.
sure. Okay. Next is कि key steps क्या है आर्टिस्ट को लेने चाहिए अपने कॉपीराइट्स को रजिस्टर करने के लिए प्रॉपरली.
So see, the first thing is if you're a composer or you're a performer, there are two distinct societies that you need to become a member of. As a composer होता है IPRS, as a performer किसामरा. तो पहले तो वो करो, उसके बाद फिर वो आएगा to register the works with the respective societies. और एक और है, गवर्नमेंट की एक वेबसाइट है www.copyright.gov.in. If you want government registration, then that is the website to go on. They have an online facility. You can register released works or even unreleased works.
So that automatically gets carried away in the Israel.
No, it has nothing to do with the societies.
Okay.
It is a separate government registration that you're doing. So the thing is that tomorrow if you go up in a court of law on a let's say plagiarism case, the way the judge will look at a copyright registration at an IPRS versus a Government of India registration, they are different. So
Okay.
that one carries, I would
Safeguards
think,
you.
more weight.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I just want to clarify again another myth. It is actually not compulsory to register
not,
copyright.
correct.
So if you're thinking of a particular composition or lyrics in your head, right? The minute you express it, let's say you've typed it out on your phone, you've written it down on a piece of paper, that has copyright already, provided of course that they're original and that they're not infringing somebody else's works. So copyright registration compulsory nahi hota hai. But uske bawajood bhi, if you want something that acts as a timestamp, that's when we encourage copyright registration. So like Atul sir said, you have a statutory body that is regulated by, the Government of India has a website. You can go there and register your copyright. And outside of that, for your works, you register with one of the societies.
Society, and it also helps you monetize your work.
But
See, the society will help you monetize.
Correct.
The Government of India registration, there's no monetization.
It will help you protect.
No, not in protection. I want to clarify
It's a
this.
timestamp.
No, it is a copyright registration certificate is not a certificate of originality of your works. It is only and only a timestamp. So tomorrow, if there is a claim where I want to try and prove when did I create these works, again, whether it's published or unpublished is irrelevant. It's a question of, did I create it before you? Then you could rely on the copyright registration certificate. If you don't have it, there are other ways of proving the timestamp. It
So
could
somebody
be.
Yeah.
told me that earlier days they used to courier the CD to themselves. Today
You could email a file to yourself.
You can email it to
Timestamp.
It was a
yourself.
timestamp.
Today, if you
She's
create
100%
something-
right.
Some
Yeah.
proof.
So it's. I think it's important to clarify, and thank you for using the word timestamp because it just
Yeah.
wasn't coming in. So it is important to clarify that a copyright, a PRO, a performance, whatever, a copyright collection society, job is not to protect your copyright. It is to collect royalty that is due to you from various multitudes of users and report. So in that sense, it's like a stock exchange, right? The second thing about a timestamp, and just to take that conversation more clearer, ये गाना मेरे पोजीशन में ये दिन से है. So जो पहला था before the copyright.gov.in site happened, it was a simpler process कि you send it to yourself back by registered post और आप खोलिए नहीं कि अगर क्वेश्चन में आ गया तो आप बता सकते देखिए ये मेरे पास ये डेट से. That does not preclude you saying कि आपको अगर 19 से 2010 में ऐसी कोई केस आ गई और आपने जाके वो प्रूव कर लिया कि देखो ये गाना मेरे पोजीशन में टाइम स्टैम्प्ड है. इट डजंट मीन कि अगर 1972 का गाना होगा
Yeah.
और ये आपका गाना भी उसकी कॉपी है, सो दैट टाइम स्टैम्प बिकम्स इररिलेवेंट एट दैट टाइम. सो दैट्स ऑल इट मेयरली इज.
इंटरेस्टिंग. ओके. कोई पर्टिकुलर स्ट्रेटजीज है आर्टिस्ट को फोकस करनी चाहिए म्यूजिक लाइसेंसिंग और सिंग प्लेसमेंट से रेवेन्यू बढ़ाने के लिए?
गाने लिखो यार.
See, let's address sync placement. क्योंकि आजकल सब माला जप रहे हैं sync placement. Okay, so I get calls from friends who say, listen to my song, it's perfect for sync. What do you mean? A song is perfect for sync. Understand what sync is. कोई पिक्चर बना रहा है, right? OTT series हो, ad हो, whatever. सिचुएशन के हिसाब से उनको एक गाना चाहिए जो उसको सूट
सूट करे।
आपने गाना बनाया है अबाउट आई लव यू, वहां पे लड़ाई चल रही है इजराइल और पैलेस्टाइन की, योर सॉन्ग इज परफेक्ट फॉर सिंक, राइट? इट्स अ वेरी मिसअंडरस्टूड कॉन्सेप्ट. कोई ऐसा गाना नहीं है विच इज मेड फॉर सिंक. It is a demand and supply situation where the demand causes a kind of song to get synced.
Yeah.
ओके, सो मेरे ख्याल से आजकल सिंग की भी एजेंसीज है, कुछ एजेंसीज है.
Agencies have platforms है online.
एनी प्लेटफॉर्म्स दैट यू कैन मेंशन?
I mean, there's Songtrader and there's Fair Play. I sit on the board of both companies. Fair.
यहाँ पे
काफी है ऊपर, काफी
Yeah.
है.
काफी
I think it's like this. I think sync is of two types. एक sync होता है जहाँ पे आपको, and it's I think important to differentiate because I think some of the platforms do a larger level of work
Yeah.
than just represent your songs to sing.
Yeah.
एक होता है जहाँ पे जो म्यूजिक सुपरवाइजर है, जो इंडिया में एक्चुअली फील्ड अभी तक है नहीं,
जैसे
आएगी
अंकुर करता
धीरे
है,
धीरे. हाँ,
अंकुर
जैसे
तिवारी
अंकुर करता
उसे करता
है.
है.
बट अंकुर डज अ ब्रॉडर रोल. एक्चुअल म्यूजिक सुपरवाइजर को म्यूजिशियन होने की, कंपोजर की बिल्कुल जरूरत नहीं है. सो वेस्ट में दे आर अ मिक्सचर ऑफ अ क्रिएटिव फोर्स एज वेल एज अ क्लियरिंग फोर्स. और बहुत गाने चलते हैं उसमें, बीजी चलता है, ये चलता है, बिकॉज वेस्ट में ये इंडियन स्टाइल कंपोजर वो सिस्टम नहीं चलता है. तो इसमें क्या होता है कि समटाइम्स पीपल नो व्हाट दे वांट, एंड एक गाना जो होता है, समझो एड में है, दीज बूट्स आर मेड फॉर वॉकिंग, इफ इट्स फॉर ली कूपर शूज, परफेक्ट एग्जाम्पल. हिंदी में गाओ, परफेक्ट है. पर उसमें ही अगर विजुअल अलग है, लड़का लड़की जा रहे, बड़े हाई हील शूज है, लव का सिचुएशन, डज इट मीन आई लव यू वाला गाना जाएगा वहां पे? नहीं. करेक्ट. सो बहुत कॉन्टेक्चुअल होता है. दूसरी होती है वेर आपके पास गाने हैं जो अनरिलीज्ड है, या इंस्ट्रूमेंटल्स है, या गाने हैं जो हिट्स नहीं है. सो देयर इज अ नॉन हिट वर्ल्ड एंड देयर इज अ हिट वर्ल्ड. So some of these platforms are doing a good way of democratizing for a agency कि चलो आपको hit नहीं चाहिए तो आप बाकी में से select कर सकते.
So again, what does it depend on? Metadata. Because your tags are so important.
और ये
It will
metadata
be
अलग
फूड
है.
क्या है,
Exactly.
यू नो क्या
Theme
ये-
क्या है?
I think it's important to also make sure कि ये metadata जो हम पहले बात कर रहे थे, publishing का metadata वो
Was
बहुत
identification metadata.
hard metadata.
वो तो कंपोजर कौन है, लिरिसिस्ट कौन है, सिंगर कौन है, किस
This is marketing metadata.
तो क्या कोई एजेंसी है इंडिया में जो मेटाडेटा स्पेशलाइज्ड है कि जो आपको सजेस्ट कर सकती है आपके
यार
गाने से?
कोई लाइफ की कॉम्प्लिकेशन नहीं है.
It's a music
what
supervisor.
makes you feel, you write down every
It's a
situation.
music supervisor
Yeah.
who does this.
In fact, there are also lots of tools online.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you saying there is a lot of
Listen to your music and identify what are the
कोई ना कोई एआई
concerns.
टूल भी होगा ये तो.
There is. In fact,
कोई-
SoundCloud had acquired
Yeah.
Museo, Hazel's company,
Yeah.
which does that.
और I'll just put this even blatantly कि ये ना कोई बड़ी इंटेलिजेंस की बात नहीं है. आप खुद बैठ के आपको क्या आपके गाने से फील होता है, गाने की अगर आप सोच रहे हो कि ये गाना सिंकेबल है तो ये गाना कहाँ कहाँ बैठ सकता है, वो सिंपल मेटाडेटा कर सकते हो आप. एक्सेसिव रॉकेट साइंस.
ओके, व्हाट आर द एसेंशियल क्लॉजेस जो आर्टिस्ट को इंक्लूड करने चाहिए अपने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स में लेबल्स और पब्लिशर्स के साथ ताकि उनके इंटरेस्ट प्रोटेक्ट हो?
Too many.
तो प्रियंका, क्या करना चाहिए अगर मैं आर्टिस्ट हूँ जिससे मंदार और अतुल सर से मैं अपना प्रोटेक्ट कर सकूं अपने?
तो मैं इसका पानी ले रहा हूँ, अभी बाजू में रख रहा हूँ. पानी भी नहीं दूंगा.
Too many. I think we've covered a lot of it
We've covered so much.
in this, but I think just to sum it up,
क्या सही सवाल है यार.
first and foremost, identify the rights that you are giving to somebody. That's the most fundamental aspect of any contract. कि आप किस चीज के लिए, what are you dealing with, right? So to identify the rights, is it master, is it publishing, is it for, is it for India, is it for the world, for how long, is it for 5 years, 10 years, forever? Where all do you want the person? So literally the scope of the grant of rights, I think, is the heart of any contract. Identify that. Your payment, and when I say payment, I don't just mean the number. I mean, how are you getting paid? What are the milestones? And I would say after that, really things like termination. And I know that's sometimes spills into legalese, but even basic, right? That if this doesn't go through, you don't end up having a relationship with each other, then what is the outcome of that? How do you part ways? So I feel just these three things also, if you focus on, it's the heart of any contractual relationship.
I think the first thing she mentioned is really critical. Again, I'll go back to that word. Aapki intent kya hai? Without intent, this is an irrelevant question. आपकी इंटेंट क्लियर रखो, आप करना क्या चाहते हो.
True. अगला सवाल अतुल सर को बहुत पसंद आएगा. म्यूजिक पब्लिशर क्या है? ऑनेस्टली मैंने पहली बार सुना है. I have heard the major posts in music earlier which are needed in the process of music making, like director, producer, singer, composer, lyricist, but didn't know what a publisher do. क्या रोल है? इन्होंने लिखा भी easy words में, साधारण शब्दों में बताना.
I think you spent at least an hour and a half explaining. So if the guy just rewinds to the top of the podcast, I think it's very well explained. आपने बहुत अच्छा काम किया. 6-7 बार आपने बोला for my understanding. अब उनकी understanding भी हो जाएगी.
ठीक है. कौन से डिफरेंट लोग या अथॉरिटीज हैं इन्वॉल्व होते हैं completion of a song with whom an independent artist have to deal with, and what roles do they play? It's a very generic question.
I mean, I guess either a distributor, if you decide to release the works on your own, or maybe a label and a publisher, and then whoever is the
Since it is an
licensee.
independent artist, I think label will not be there.
Yeah.
So it's
But an independent artist could also be a part of an indie label.
Yeah.
Like,
So let's look at this differently. And I was, maybe if we frame this question, this goes to that, there was a conference in Tel Aviv where a lot of people ask this question. And it's also myth in the world कि actually you don't need to come to a label first. कि आपको label के पास आने की ज़रूरत है ही नहीं पहले, because labels, fortunately, unfortunately, are like any other business entity. They operate at a particular scale. But as an independent artist, depending on the state you're in, I would imagine that the very first port of call is to find a champion for yourself. That champion could be an early stage manager. And if it turns out to be a great manager, that is great. क्योंकि आप जा सकते हो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर के पास, आपको जाना भी चाहिए, वो गाने रिलीज करो, बट लुक एट दैट एज सम अंदर की जो क्रिएटिविटी आप निकाल रहे हो, कोई एक्सपेक्ट मत करना उससे. बट आई थिंक इफ यू आर वेरी सीरियस अबाउट सम स्टफ, before the rest of the world, I think if you're a writer, then in the West, I would have said, go find a publisher. Because the publisher's original job for a songwriter is to go pitch your songs to a label or an artist.
Correct.
To get those songs used. Abhi India mein independent publishers काफी कम है. Now there is Turnkey. So if you're a publisher, yes, go to Turnkey because they'll take on that onus. But if you're an artist, that is a non-writer, for instance, please find a voracious champion. Don't find one of those guys who write hype and try and pester people. Just find a voracious champion who may not be your biggest long-term manager. They may not also be, but it's somebody who can help you move things forward, make sense of the world. And I really believe that that's what you should.
Okay, fair enough. How is AI helping or affecting the music? Copyrights related to AI?
This is a separate podcast in itself.
Yeah, completely.
There's a lot on AI.
Yeah, it's not a simple answer. So
Yeah, it's very complex. It's evolving as we speak, and genuinely, this is a separate topic in itself.
Yeah.
So one thing though that I would say about AI, more from the point of view of either artists whose name, image, likeness is being misused in an unauthorized way, or even as far as rights holders are concerned, whose works you find left, right, and center are being recreated, right? There's enough already within the existing framework of even our legal system to enforce your rights. And I'm going to give you some examples, right? So I act for a lot of these legacy estates where we oversee rights of a bunch of really celebrated artists in the country, right? And you'll notice that you have deep fakes or you have versions of a particular song, but in the voice of
Correct.
this legendary singer. And we have been so active about protecting and enforcing those rights, right? We've sent notices left, right, and center. When need be, we will, take necessary action, whether it's civil, whether it's criminal, whether it's approaching a court of law, enforcing it. And you'd be surprised, I think in almost every single instance, we've managed to have the infringement nipped in the bud. In fact, a lot of people who are doing this really do it more for gimmicks, right? And without even realizing what they're actually doing. And they're so scared that as soon as they're hit with something that's, even close to it looking like legalese or legal action, they'll immediately back off. So I think to everybody listening out there, if you are at the receiving end of this, where you feel that somebody is wrongfully infringing your name, image, likeness, or your music, you don't need to wait for anything specific around AI. You already have enough tools available to take action.
फैंटास्टिक. सो अगला सवाल है कि आपका ओपिनियन क्या है कि जर्नलिज्म म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री में कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है और क्या ये अभी एग्जिस्ट करता है?
Can I take that? And I know, let me start with that, and we can go to Atul because he started his life with that. But this also is a conversation that we had about another good friend of ours, I won't name. But I think journalism in music की ज़रूरत है, because in a world where everybody is, हर एक आदमी Instagram पे चिल्ला रहा है, लेबल, पब्लिशर नहीं, लेबल, आर्टिस्ट, कंपोजर, मेरे गाने चार्ट हो रहे, फेक व्यूज दे रहे, इतने पैसे मार्केटिंग प्रोमो में जा रहे कि आर्टिस्ट पूछ रहे, आधे से ज्यादा पंजाब तो पूछता है भाई मेरे को व्यूज दे दो. हर फिल्म स्टार बोलता है कि यार मेरी तो ओपनिंग गाने के साथ 50-100 मिलियन के साथ होनी चाहिए. रियल क्या है और खराब क्या है ये किसी को पता नहीं है. द सेकेंड पार्ट इज, एक टाइम का जो म्यूजिक क्रिटिक था उसकी ओपिनियन थी क्रिटिकल एंड नॉट इन अ बैड वे. उसकी थी एक म्यूजिक अप्रिसिएशन की, जो बैलेंस्ड ओपिनियन थे. अभी ये काफी थोड़ी सी अस अगेंस्ट देम, एंड ये अस कौन है देम कौन है किसी को कुछ पता नहीं है. बिकॉज हर एक कोने से एक आदमी कोई भी हो वो अपना कॉलिंग कार्ड बेच रहा है, उसकी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. तो ये कैकोफोनी जो है ना व्यू की, ये ऑडियंस के लिए कंफ्यूजिंग है. हम जो कुछ काम कर रहे हैं ना वो ऑडियंस का काम है, वो उनको एंटरटेन कर ले. सो इन माय ओपिनियन, एंड अगेन दिस इज जस्ट माय पर्सनल ओपिनियन, म्यूजिक जर्नलिज्म इज एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम अ वेरी डिफरेंट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, वेयर रादर देन रिलाइंग नेसेसरली डिजिटल मीडिया पे या फेक न्यूज़ पे, या हर कोई गधा जो बैठ के इंस्टाग्राम पे बात कर रहा है कि ये नहीं वो नहीं, पर वो जरूरी नहीं कि राइट और रॉन्ग, ऐसे भी जरूरत नहीं कि म्यूजिक जर्नलिस्ट राइट हो, पर गाना इज अ वर्क ऑफ आर्ट. वो गाने को थोड़ी सी उसकी रिस्पेक्ट देके, उसकी जो खासियत है, या गाना जो राइटर है वो क्या बोलना चाहता है, वो थोड़ी मैच्योरिटी से लिखे, तो मेरे ख्याल से म्यूजिक जर्नलिस्ट होना ये बहुत जरूरी है.
करेक्ट.
No, he said it all. He said it extremely well.
अभी एग्जिस्ट करता है, अभी काफी कम,
बहुत कम
है.
Same, and I feel that it's also sometimes quite skewed in the views that are being expressed. So I think, to Mandar's point, tastemakers, I feel that's what is really
Needed.
needed.
Yeah. Opinions
good
are not
taste
needed.
makers.
Only one side of it. Taste making is
I
needed.
feel there is so much of opportunity because each of these problem is actually a huge opportunity.
Absolutely.
है ना? कि if somebody is listening and watching this podcast, if they are those people who can be that person,
Absolutely.
it's an amazing opportunity. Okay. What role does a label play in Bollywood music as of today?
Haha.
Sir.
I wish.
There is no
I
Bollywood
wish.
music without a label.
हाँ, because this is a very favorite subject. Because हर 3-4 साल में एक नया बकरा आता है जो फिल्म इंडस्ट्री को लाइफलाइन दे देता है. तो वो आता है.
क्या वो बकरे अभी आपको?
हाँ जी, हम भी बकरे हैं, हम भी 100% बकरे हैं. तो ऊपर से बोल रहा हूँ, बिकॉज यहाँ पे हमारा एक ही देश है जहाँ पे इनपुट कॉस्ट और आउटपुट कॉस्ट में कोई कोरिलेशन नहीं है. जब भी कोई भी फिल्म स्टार उठे एक साइड पे बेड पे, वो देखेगा यार आज मेरा रेट ये है, कल मेरा रेट वो है. आपकी 3 पिक्चरें फ्लॉप हो गई लाइन में, तो आप आपका रेट कम करोगे? नहीं. देर आर ऑल्सो फिल्म प्रोड्यूसर्स हु इन मेनी वेज ऑल्सो रिटर्न मनी बैक. तो वो एक कोई होता है, वो थोड़े ओल्ड स्टाइल फिल्म प्रोड्यूसर्स है, इंडिविजुअल्स है धंधे में. बट really there are two parts. एक है कि actually एक टाइम पे लेबल सिर्फ ट्रेडर होता था, खरीदता था और वो सेल करता था. पर लास्ट 10 साल 15 साल में देयर आर गुड इनफ लेबल्स जो बहुत काम करते हैं पिक्चर के ऊपर along with the producer. और वो डिपेंड्स ऑन द प्रोड्यूसर. अभी ये जो कॉन्ग्लोमरेटाइजेशन हो गया है ऑफ conglomerates coming, they're not studios, mind you. Studios in the West are different. You may call yourself a studio. पर आप अगर बल्क में 100 पिक्चर बनाते हो, आपके टीम में क्वालिफाइड लोग नहीं है मार्केटिंग के लिए, कान वाले, आप कट पेस्ट कर रहे हो, फटाफट निकाल रहे हो, ओटीटी में जा रहा है, ये जा रहा है, ओटीटी डिक्टेट कर रहा है आपकी रिलीज क्या है. ये क्या हो गया है ना, दैट ये सब चक्कर में म्यूजिक विच इज एन इंटीग्रल 1/3 पार्ट ऑफ योर कॉम्पनसेशन सफर्स. म्यूजिक क्यों है पिक्चर में? कोई जरूरी नहीं था. ये था बिकॉज गाने जब भी गर्म हो, मार्केटिंग करके लेबल पुश करता है, तो पीपल वुड कम टू थिएटर्स टू सी इट. अभी आपको थिएटर जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं, आपको ओटीटी पे प्रोमो चलता है, तो म्यूजिक का रोल बहुत कम आ गया वहां पे. सो आई रियली थिंक देयर आर सम लेबल्स हु आर डूइंग अ गुड जॉब आउट ऑफ इट. सोनी एक ब्रिलियंट जॉब कर रहा है फॉर व्हाटएवर इट्स वर्थ. टी सीरीज डिड अ ब्रिलियंट जॉब. सिलेक्शन अच्छी होती है, पर हर लेबल वो करता नहीं है. एंड आई वुड टेल ईच एंड एवरी लेबल एंड म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री कि जब तक आप गानों में नहीं घुसोगे, खरीद क्या रहे हो, आपकी एग्जिस्टेंस क्या है. द सेकेंड पार्ट इज ऑल्सो कि फॉर प्रोड्यूसर्स a lot of that is changing also on the producer side. जैसे यंगर प्रोड्यूसर्स आते हैं, वो भी रिकग्नाइज करते हैं कि यार मेरी खासियत इसमें है. तो अगर लेबल कोई कंसिडर दे रहा है, उनके पास गाने हो, उनके पास आर्टिस्ट हो, हम साथ में काम करते हैं. बदल भी रहा है, बट आई थिंक वो चेंज थोड़ा सा क्रिएटिवली जोर से और होना चाहिए.
वेरी वेल सेड. आपके मन में जो था सारा निकल पाया. थैंक यू फॉर आस्किंग दिस क्वेश्चन.
You're telling me or telling that guy?
ओके, सो अगला सवाल है कि व्हाट आर द बेसिक कंस्ट्रक्ट्स ऑफ अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बिटवीन म्यूजिशियंस एंड लेबल्स, एज इन हाउ डू दीज म्यूजिक लेबल्स प्रिपेयर एन एमेच्योर पर्सन विद म्यूजिक, लाइक व्हाट्स द प्रोसेस, बिकॉज दे हैव टू वर्क इन एवरी डायरेक्शन फॉर दैट पर्सन, बी इन हिज कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स एंड सोशल एंजाइटी दैट मेनी आर्टिस्ट फेस इंक्लूडिंग मी इन द बिगिनिंग ऑफ देयर जर्नी.
तो पुराने दिनों में मैनेजर्स नहीं थे वगैरह, जब हम पॉप म्यूजिक कर रहे थे. एक चीज बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है, टू अंडरस्टैंड द आर्टिस्ट और उसका ग्रोथ पाथ.
जी,
वो बहुत मायने रखता है इन टर्म्स ऑफ द म्यूजिक दैट यू क्रिएट. You see, because the artist cannot keep competing with himself, and this is something I find that many people don't think about. क्योंकि आप गाने बनाते रहते हो और सुनने वाला बोलता है यार इसका ये गाना अच्छा लेकिन वो वाला अच्छा था. You know, you're always competing with yourself. So the idea should be, जैसे एक आर्टिस्ट ग्रो करता है, उसका म्यूजिक भी चेंज होना चाहिए so that he's not competing with himself and he's reflecting his growth, right? And my favorite example on this is Shan. How we took him from Loveology and ऐसा होता है to Tanha Dil, right? It was a process, it was a journey. उन दिनों में managers थे नहीं, he got Martin later. Martin started managing him when Tanha Dil was happening. But there was a whole change in the way the lyrics were done, the way the music was done, which reflected his growth in age, in personality. We helped with the personality also. Aajkal with all the artist management, you'll see the change in style, haircut, this one, that one, change of cars and all that. Is it reflecting in the music?
correct.
Okay. So that becomes a critical place where the management and label should work together.
And in fact, abhi जैसे they are also investing. Times is investing with Didar and other artists. Saregama is doing the same. In fact, every label is investing with artists on a 360-degree level.
Yeah.
They are investing time, energy, effort in how they look, what they speak. But eventually,
see,
Music पे आना
the
पड़ेगा.
artist has to carry his music.
Majority of that journey.
वो सारे का फायदा तभी होगा या आउटपुट तभी आएगा जब म्यूजिक पे इम्पैक्ट होगा उसका. करेक्ट. ओके. वुड लव टू नो योर व्यूज ऑन रीमेक्स, हाउ मच इट इज इन द हैंड्स ऑफ द आर्टिस्ट वर्सेस द लेबल्स टू डिसाइड वेदर टू कवर एन ओल्ड सॉन्ग और क्रिएट ओरिजिनल म्यूजिक.
Fair enough. Okay.
So, I'm not looking at it from an artist perspective. मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ कि there are songs which belong to labels, and I think after so many years, उनको re-record करना चाहिए. So we are calling them remixes. I'm saying re-record करना चाहिए because recordings reflect the age of the song very often. तो today I don't listen to a song by Pankaj Malik, for example, because the recording sounds old. पर ऐसा नहीं है कि वो composition और lyrics अच्छे नहीं है. And that is how a label keeps its copyrights alive. सारेगामा की केस ले लीजिए, 1930s के हैं, 40s के हैं, 50s के हैं. You need new recordings for people to listen to, right? In today's context with popular artists. So there is a definite need to re-record. लेकिन जो आर्टिस्ट की डिसीजन है वो आर्टिस्ट की डिसीजन है. अल्टीमेटली यू वांट टू बी नोन फॉर योर ओन वर्क. आप ये तो नहीं चाहते हो कि आप स्टेज पे जाओ और लोग वहां से चिल्ला रहे सोनू निगम का गाना गाओ, शान का गाना गाओ. आप चाहते हो अपने गाने गाओ. तो ओरिजिनल्स आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बट ऑल्सो देयर इज नो हार्म इन डूइंग अ कवर वर्जन इन योर ओन स्टाइल. Now don't stand there and sing a Kishore Kumar song saying I sing it better than Kishore Kumar unless you genuinely can. Or then change the rendition, the style to suit what you do, right?
I think अगर आप नए आर्टिस्ट हो और and I'll give Didar's example, right? Because that's been a journey. अगर ये एक गाने की डील है ना, which is how unfortunately our industry has turned out. Majority बोलो हिंदी में, पंजाबी तो हर एक गाने में खुद पे डालता है, एक दूसरे लेवल पे, तीसरे लेवल वापस तुम्हारे पास आता है. ये सब चक्कर में ना फिर वो ट्रांजैक्शन की बात होती है. And hence your relationship is with the song and not the artist. अगर ये क्वेश्चन है कि लेबल की और आर्टिस्ट की in a longer term, which I really think should be the question, then it is a matter of a savvy A&R executive at a label and a also savvy artist who says कि जैसे अतुल ने बताया पहले कि हमारी जर्नी क्या है. Easiest way to gain some level of traction, maybe a your take on a cover, which is very important. But as you grow आपकी जर्नी में तो ये कोई हार्ड एंड फास्ट नहीं होता है. हमने चालू किया कवर्स का, बट क्या माहौल भी क्या है वो देखना पड़ता है. आजकल यूट्यूब में कोई भी उठ के गाता है, क्रिएटर्स बोलते हैं उनको, इन्फ्लुएंसर्स बोलते हैं. और ये लोग है कि ये पता नहीं यार एन मास में जेरोक्स कॉपी मार के डाल देते. कोई खराबी नहीं उसमें, सबका हक है, यूट्यूब लाइसेंस लेता है. बट आई एम सेइंग इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस टू डिस्टिंग्विश. हमको आप अगर एक आर्टिस्टिक करियर बना रहे हो ओवर अ लॉन्गर टर्म, इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू गेट ईदर यूर अ राइटर, या तो आपका गाना किसी राइटर के साथ बैठ के जो आपको सूट करता है. सो वो टाइम पे एक डिसीजन साथ में ले सकते हैं.
And I'm going to give another perspective, a third perspective in a slightly different context, क्योंकि ये जो सवाल पूछा गया है, I have actually been in several instances on behalf of clients where it has become serious heartache. Right now, I know we've been talking about this more in the context of एक one-off गाना हो गया, जहाँ पे you have a limited relationship with the label. But let's think of it in the context of a film and the soundtrack of a film, right? Where you are the exclusive composer. Number one, आज की तारीख में exclusivity has also become
very rare.
Very rare, right?
Only very few top composers are left who do full film.
And we've had the fortune of acting for almost all of them, who in today's day and age also would command exclusivity. And over there particularly, I've seen that this becomes a big pain point, where naturally a certain artist of a certain stature is going to think twice before recreating. Or like Mandar and Atul sir have said, that it's a question of, again, taste making and good A&R, right? If there's enough of a creative synergy there to say, okay, this is what I feel comfortable doing within this construct, then it's a conversation. So the simple solution to that, again, is actually it's a contractual negotiation. Okay. You've got to make sure you identify it. You decide what are the parameters within which you feel comfortable doing a cover version. And to the specific question that they've asked is, it is a mutual consultative process.
Correct. And also like to say, creative hai na. So, let's look at an international example. Simon and Garfunkel, Sounds of Silence. Most beautiful folk pop melody, lovely song. Heavy metal band Disturbed came and did Sounds of Silence. One of the biggest hits a cover has ever had. And it established Disturbed unequivocally on the international circuit. Brilliant. They did their take on that song. Chris Cornell. Yeah. Listen to his version of Billie Jean. Michael Jackson's Billie Jean, the greatest dance song that we know. His version was beautiful.
True. Okay, it's amazing that we have so many perspectives on certain things. Okay, guys, we'll take one more hour. Okay, what changes has the music industry seen in terms of legal and monetization matters with the advent of platforms like YouTube and Instagram, where anyone can create and monetize their music?
I don't want to get into this.
नहीं, देखो बात ये है कि what is when you talk about YouTube is a UGC platform,
Yeah.
right? So technology long time before YouTube also had established that anyone can upload their music into the internet, right?
Yeah.
So the gatekeeping that we used to do at labels, वो सब खत्म हो गई है. So everyone can create music and upload music, right? That's what the internet has allowed. UGC platforms like YouTube help copyright owners to earn from their music, which is popular with people who are not necessarily musicians. जैसे आप पहले उदाहरण दे रहे थे कि बर्थडे पार्टी है किसी की, आपका गाना चल रहा है, लेकिन जो कॉपीराइट ओनर है उसको वो पैसा मिलेगा.
Correct.
So there's a huge benefit in what these YouTubes and Metas and all are doing in terms of helping copyright owners monetize music, which otherwise they would
And-
never been able to do.
Yeah, and I do want to add something very important here. बहुत सारे users को ऐसे लगता है कि just because it's on the internet, it's free, it's available, it's public domain. That's not the case. You would be surprised. Behind the scenes, there are teams and teams in place, and it's so painful. But almost every single platform will enter into licenses with rights holders, with societies, with publishers, and this is done territory by territory, publisher by publisher, record label after record label, PRO after PRO, worldwide, right? And it's a negotiation. and
difficult.
It's very difficult. I am saying this because I've been in a lot of these conversations, and there's such an attempt to make sure that there is no gap in the rights, that nobody is being left
Shortchanged.
exactly. Nobody is being shortchanged, and at the same time, the user experience isn't being compromised. So much so that choti cheeze every single time that there is a new feature also. The first thing that a separate team is doing is going back and checking, hey, is this within the realm of the current set of rights that I have licensed? Do I need to go back, negotiate it before I launch this? So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes for us to even enjoy a simple add-on feature like a music sticker on our stories.
True.
Also, we बोल ही देता हूँ.
A very little part of a little
Yeah.
bit. This
That
a couple of
also, and just from the constituency, that labels and publishers spend months on end with their lawyers,
Yeah.
because the job here is twofold. One is of promotion. I think platforms like YouTube have done a phenomenal job of creating languages and genres that streaming hasn't been able, because YouTube is a visual platform and it's come much before. And I think this whole spurt, so much we have to credit YouTube for. That's one. But on the right side, the amount of work that labels, publishers, lawyers, it takes to basically, like Priyanka said, it's not easy. Every day there is a new feature, but every day there is also a shift. YouTube has become so, it's a simple platform. You go in, you search, you do whatever. Then came streaming. Abhi there is short format video apps. Then kal pata nahi kuch hoga. Uske दूसरे
And then
तीसरे दिन
AI.
कुछ होगा. ये सबके abreast रहना पड़ता है. इसके लिए वक्त जाता है, अक्ल जाती है, टाइम जाता है, पैसे जाते हैं, लोग लगते हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी लगती है. And that's really the effort that the industry is really putting in.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. अगला सवाल है कि what's your view on the current state of infrastructure in India for live music events? What's stopping us from having arenas, venues like O Arena, Wembley or Royal Albert Hall or Sydney Opera House? In fact, Arijit had come. I asked this to every guest that what is one thing you want to change in the music industry? Arijit and Sunny were there and they said that there should be more venues. And that's actually a very important
Yeah. So
thing.
it's a growing industry. We are seeing venues come. हम हमेशा बोलते थे venues नहीं है, venues नहीं है. आज NMACC है, right? So that's become like a hub in Bombay today. It's a question of economics. तो ये बहुत सालों से ये conversation चल रहा है because of the property prices in the cities where you can command high ticket prices. The economics doesn't seem to work. Okay? So you can get smaller venues, but then you'll get the smaller artists. You won't be able to play Arijit at Social, right? It's not going to be possible. So it's a question of us becoming a more mature market in terms of a ticket-paying public. And I'm very happy
Yeah.
that something like NMACC has come in, the Dome has come in, because they're charging high prices for tickets. And if you look at what's happening, people are paying. It's very definite now that people are willing to pay. So it will happen. It's a question of time. It's a mindset shift.
Yeah, and I think to add on, it's a question about real estate. It's a question about an audience mindset to pay. It's nice. So venues are of different sizes. If you remember, a few years back there was the Blue Frog in Bombay, and this is just a metaphor that I'm using.
Yeah.
Now it was a venue where it was a phenomenally great venue. Bands would play. It encouraged a lot of indie musicians way before all these streaming services and the indie circuit picked up. It was way before all of that, and they were phenomenally good. Unfortunately, for them to run that as a business, you have to sell food, booze, and you have to charge tickets. Somebody's got to pay for it. I mean, that's the part. So I think that cultural shift is happening now. Unfortunately, it didn't happen then. And number two is, I think the corporate groups. See, the more you have fluctuating real estate prices, the more harder it's going to get. So in the major metros, you will have the bigger groups coming in to set up things, which is already happening with the
NMSCC.
right? But I think the real meat lies in some of the tier 3, tier 4 towns, जहाँ पे अगर venues होते हैं जो basic भी हो, with very basic sound and basic light, और अगर अलग-अलग groups आ जाए, तो I would actually throw this question back to the audience कि आप आपके लोकल जो कॉर्पोरेटर्स हैं, आपकी लोकल जो संस्थाएं हैं, उनसे बात कीजिए. इफ यू आर अ म्यूजिशियन बॉडी इन अ पर्टिकुलर सिटी और आप जैसे लाइक माइंडेड लोग हो कि आपके सिटी में वेन्यू नहीं है, तो काम वो आपको ही करना पड़ेगा.
True.
जहाँ पे जैसे यहाँ पे धंधा बढ़ गया धीरे धीरे, अलग अलग कंपनीज, और अभी कंपनीज है भी, बुक माई शो है, ये है वो.
They are also building venue. I've heard Book My Show has been planning to build venues.
तो ये होगा.
Yeah. Okay. In light of recent legal precedents, what are the biggest legal challenges facing musicians today?
तो I'm not very sure legal precedents इनका क्या मतलब है, पर अभी कैलकाटा हाई कोर्ट ने एक रूलिंग करी है वोडाफोन के अगेंस्ट, वे उन्होंने बोला है कि IPRS लाइसेंस लेना जरूरी है. ओके, सो इट्स अ बिग विन फॉर अस. That has led to the signing of the Wink streaming platform with IPRS. वो conversation चल रही थी. The Vodafone thing happened. The Wink license got signed. I'm not saying they were correlated, but these are all signs.
The domino effect.
कि अब there is going to be compliance. हमारा law बिल्कुल ठीक है. हमारे law में कोई problem नहीं. Compliance पे problem है. और my favorite story is publishing के पैसे कोई नहीं दे रहा. रेडियो हैज बीन इन कोर्ट विद IPRS फॉर 17 years. 17 साल से ये कोर्ट में लड़ाई कर रहे हैं कि हमको पैसा नहीं देना. FM रेडियो स्टेशंस 385 रेडियो स्टेशंस है, मेरा ख्याल 3 पैसा देते हैं IPRS को. राइट, 17 साल से ये लोग लॉयर्स को पैसा दे रहे हैं. सॉरी प्रियंका, लेकिन वो रॉयल्टी नहीं देंगे. अभी गाना सावन विंक है, हमारे डोमेस्टिक DSPs. हंगामा ने लाइसेंस लिया था पहले, अब विंक ने साइन किया है. जियो सावन से बात चल रही है, मे बी गाना के साथ कुछ होगा. बट दिस इज अबाउट कंप्लायंस. जब ये कंप्लायंस होगी तब पैसा आएगा. हमारे 1000 टेलीविजन,
जियो सावन, विंक और गाना अभी तक पैसे दे ही नहीं रहे.
नहीं, नॉट टिल टुडे.
For years and years we've been negotiating.
1000 टेलीविजन स्टेशंस, जिसमें से सोनी नेटवर्क और अब जी नेटवर्क 50 स्टेशन, सिर्फ वो पैसा दे रहे हैं. एंड माई फेवरेट स्टोरी, 40 lakh, 4 million establishments in the hotels and industries, organized sector, 8,000 पे IPRS. आप सोचो, तो कंप्लायंस की बात है. तो जो आप कह रहे हैं लीगल प्रेसिडेंट, दिस लीगल प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैविंग टू टेक एन IPRS लाइसेंस, ये बहुत सिग्निफिकेंट है. अब रेवेन्यू की ग्रोथ उस सेक्शन में होगी, लेकिन हमको देखना है कि पब्लिक परफॉर्मेंस में, एंड इट्स नॉट लिमिटेड टू IPRS, PPL कलेक्शन, RMPL कलेक्शन, नोवेक्स कलेक्शन बहुत कम है. दिस इंडस्ट्री, मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ, हमारा पब्लिक परफॉर्मेंस कलेक्शन जॉइंटली बिटवीन IPRS एंड द रेस्ट इज अंडर 300 crores. अगर हम सिर्फ ये 4 million एस्टैब्लिशमेंट से पैसा लें और हम अपना रेट 1/3 करें, आज अगर 100 रुपए हैं, आप 33 रुपए करो, ये 10,000 करोड़ की इंडस्ट्री है. 300 से 10,000 करोड़. अब सोचो, सिर्फ नॉन कंप्लायंस की वजह से हमको ये पैसा नहीं मिल रहा है। और उस दिन जब पीयूष गोयल के साथ मीटिंग हुई थी, 23 मिलियन रेस्टोरेंट्स इन द अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर। क्या मतलब हुआ? ढाबे। तो पीयूष जी ने बोला था कि यार वो तो ढाबे हैं, वो कहाँ। 23 मिलियन अगर साल के 200 रुपए दे, 460 करोड़, विच इज मोर देन आवर करंट कलेक्शन। सिर्फ कंप्लायंस की बात है, तो पैसा वहां से आएगा और ये इंडस्ट्री 2-3 साल में एक्सप्लोड करेगी।
That's a good thing. That's music to my ears. Yeah. Okay. मैं अगला सवाल पूछता हूँ. How do you foresee the evolving role of record label in the age of independent distribution and self promotion? What is the role left for the music labels?
Why do people ask this
I
question?
think, and I'm very happy to take that because I think, look, I think it's a uneducated question, because it's like saying कि जब मेरे पास डक को सर्च इंजन है तो गूगल कौन यूज करेगा? करेक्ट। हर एक की हर जगह में ना एक इकोसिस्टम में रोल होती है।
Correct.
और हर एक छोटा आदमी हो बड़ा आदमी हो ना, ये क्वेश्चन इतना फूलिश है कि मेरे को हंसने को आता है। एंड आई एम जस्ट बीइंग वेरी ओपन अबाउट इट बिकॉज इट्स लाइक आस्किंग कि मैनेजर एजेंट में फर्क क्या है। इट्स लाइक आस्किंग एनी अदर क्वेश्चन बिकॉज इसमें क्या होता है कि लेबल का काम आपकी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिर्फ करना नहीं है। लेबल का काम पहले समझ लो क्या होता है। लेबल इज अ बिजनेस लाइक एनी अदर बिजनेस। वो सिर्फ आपके लिए बैठा नहीं है, ना 4 मिलियन कंपोजर्स के लिए बैठा है। उनका धंधा इज एन अपॉर्चुनिस्टिक धंधा कि हमारे साथ टीम है, कैपिटल है, सम लेवल ऑफ ब्रेन्स है, मार्केटिंग है, A&R है। हम पिक्चर का साउंड ट्रैक करेंगे या तो हम आर्टिस्ट को साइन करेंगे या तो हम अलग अलग करेंगे। एक टाइम पे लेबल्स यूज्ड टू बी गेट कीपर्स, टुडे दे आर नॉट। दैट्स द सिंपल चेंज। द सेकंड इज, एक टाइम पे लेबल वुड नॉट बी इन इट्स स्टोर्स, टुडे द लेबल इज ऑन इट्स स्टोर्स। दैट्स द सेकंड चेंज। बट द थर्ड थिंग इज the amount of capital, the amount of resources that we spoke about in terms of court cases, litigation, the fights, the ability to monetize all these platforms, the ability to market. ये जो resources लाता है at a global level to break an artist is far more humongous than just idle distribution. Distribution की जगह है, but आज अगर आप देखो कि top 10 जो artists है उसमें से कितने लोग आ गए जस्ट ब्लाइंडली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर से? दैट शुड हैव योर आंसर। किसी को ब्रेक करने के लिए ना, एंड आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट सम वायरल सॉन्ग ऑन सम सिली चार्ट समवेयर, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट अ प्रॉपर लेगेसी आर्टिस्ट, राइट? बियॉन्से ये है, ये पागल लोग नहीं है ना लेवल के साथ। टेलर स्विफ्ट काम करने वीकेंड, करेक्ट? तो ये क्वेश्चन है कि आप आपकी लाइफ और सम, अगर इफ यू आर अ म्यूजिशियन, जो लेबल ने आपको साइन नहीं किया, You should be working with the distributor, क्योंकि पहले डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर नहीं होता था, अभी वो चीज है एंड ही हैज अ राइटफुल प्लेस इन द इकोसिस्टम।
Correct.
पर आपको जब भी ब्रेक करके आगे निकलना है, यू नीड टू प्ले एट अ नेशनल लेवल, यू नीड टू प्ले फिल्म्स, यू नीड टू प्ले कॉन्सर्ट्स, यू नीड टू प्ले सो मच मोर, यू नीड टू ब्रिंग अ सीरियस लेवल ऑफ मार्केटिंग मसल बिहाइंड। दैट्स व्हेन यू नीड अ लेबल, which is why, to go back to it, a label operates at scale. It doesn't operate necessarily as a distributor.
One of the best examples, जब ये क्वेश्चन पहले शुरू हुआ था, was Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber became his own, I mean, he self-released, he became his own popular star at a certain level. Universal came and picked him up. Look where he is today.
Every single artist in the top
That's
10. Simple as that. So that should answer the question.
I have heard from many artists that when they register with IPRS, they could not perform their own songs in live gigs as IPRS royalties for live shows and events. Is there any way to whitelist certain events and perform our own songs in such events?
Board member IPRS will answer.
ये कहाँ से आपने सुना? मैं क्वेश्चन वाले को पूछ रहा हूँ। ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है। आपका गाना है, IPRS is as a collection exchange. आपका गाना है, जहाँ दिल चाहे गाओ। Simple answer to that.
Nobody can stop you from
Nobody on
performing
earth can
anything
stop
anywhere.
you.
Yeah, and this is something even I have to repeat to artists all the time. There is no contractual stipulation. Nobody can enforce this on you. You are free to perform your songs. It's just that you have to make sure that the promoter, the venue, somebody has a license in place because you are going to eventually benefit from it.
पैसा आपके पास ही आएगा eventually. और कहाँ जाएगा?
आपके पास आपके लिए तो कलेक्ट करो।
Okay. अगला है I get many Shazam searches for my song from UK, UAE and other parts of the world. Does IPRS collects royalties for artists from international markets as well?
Yes.
Answer is yes.
Yeah. So all societies have a reciprocal arrangement by which money collected in any country is sent back to your home society.
बट आई हैव टू ऐड हियर एक चीज है, ये जाती है वापस क्वेश्चन मेटा डेटा की और फॉलो और काम की, कि अगर आपको पता है कि शज़ाम में हो रहा है, यूएई में, यूएस में हो, यूके में हो, वो डेटा है, इट इज अनरियल टू एक्सपेक्ट कि ये आईपीआरएस या बीएमआई या किसको भी समझ में आएगा कि आपका काम, ऐसा कोई एआई नहीं बना है, टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं बनती है कि आपके 2 गाने हर जगह पे जाते हैं। तो वो काम आपका होता है कि आप आईपीआरएस को इंफॉर्मेशन भेज दो, बिकॉज लॉक्ड इनकम होती है, अनलॉक्ड इनकम होती है, कहाँ पे पीक हो रहा है, ये जितनी इंफॉर्मेशन आप दे दो उतना आपके लिए अच्छा है।
Okay. For Mandar sir, how a new artist can get their song published through music labels and not get exploited?
I told you.
Many music
Published
labels
through a music label.
Many music labels mentions transfer of all rights to labels in their agreement. How can we negotiate on keeping rights and only releasing music from their label?
Okay. I think 2 चीजें हैं कि let us split this question कि how does an artist get his song published through a music label? So maybe the question came in slightly innocently, the word published, released through a music label may be the correct word. तो उसके लिए, and I genuinely wish कि हर music label, including Times Music, has a better system of accepting demos. जनरली क्या होता है कि मेरे इंस्टाग्राम पे 700-800 हाई होते हैं, ये मेरा गाना है, आप चेक कर लो। वो यार मैं भी ह्यूमन हूँ, और हमारे जो एंडआर लोग हैं कंटेंट वाले, वो भी ह्यूमन है, इतने गाने नहीं देख सकते। सो आई विश देयर इज अ बेटर सिस्टम, इट जस्ट मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम। पर ये अगर गाना अच्छा हो, एंड आई विल रिफ्लेक्ट दिस बैक, कि अगर जितने जो कुछ गाने सुनते हैं अगर अच्छा हो ना, वो सामने से ही कोई आके आपको बोलेगा यार ये गाना दे दो, बात करके डिस्कस करते, रिलीज करते। द सेकंड क्वेश्चन इज हाउ डू आई रिलीज, कीप माय राइट्स, या पूरे राइट्स नहीं दे दो। यार वो आपकी प्रेरोगेटिव है, विलिंग बायर, विलिंग सेस्टर, और आपकी इंटेंट क्या है, दैट इज अ नेगोशिएशन। कि आप अगर चाहते हो कि लेबल बैठ के आपके साथ कोई दूध का दूल्हा बनने वाला है, नहीं सर हम बहुत पैसे लगाएंगे, वीडियो बनाएंगे, मार्केटिंग करेंगे, पर आप सब राइट रखते हो, तो गधों की बात होगी। पर आप अगर आदमी हो जो बोलेंगे ये नो व्हाट, मेरे को राइट्स रखने हैं, पर मैं भी कुछ ला रहा हूँ पार्टी में, मैं आपको गाने, आप मेरे को अपफ्रंट मत कुछ दीजिए, आप मेरे साथ रॉयल्टी पे काम कर लीजिए, आप मेरे, या हम को ओनरशिप अलग अलग कर सकते हैं, वो सब भी पॉसिबल है एट सम सिचुएशन। उसके लिए पर आपके गाने में इतना दम होना चाहिए कि दोनों पार्टीज को लगे कि यार इससे आगे बन सकते। वो हर गाने के लिए तो नहीं हो सकता है, सो इट्स अ वेरी सब्जेक्टिव थिंग, बट सामने बैठ के डिस्कस कर लो।
अगला सवाल है आपसे ही। मेनी म्यूजिक लेबल्स डोंट पे न्यू आर्टिस्ट व्हेन रिलीजिंग देयर सॉन्ग्स थ्रू देयर लेबल। दे रिलीज देयर म्यूजिक, कीप ऑल द राइट्स विद लेबल एंड नॉट विलिंग टू शेयर रॉयल्टीज एज वेल। हाउ कैन अ न्यू आर्टिस्ट मोनेटाइज देयर म्यूजिक?
देखो ऐसा है कि ये आई कैन ओनली स्पीक ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ टाइम्स म्यूजिक, पर हमारे जितने एफएफएस के रिलीजेस है वो सब रिलीजेस को हमने पे किया है, राइट? इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल थिंग। अभी हर लेबल या हर लेबल कैसे इसको देखता है, कभी कभी क्या होता है कि इट्स अ मैटर ऑफ, ये 200 साल का क्वेश्चन है हॉलीवुड में, ये म्यूजिक लेबल का बॉलीवुड का क्वेश्चन नहीं है। आप डिसाइड करो आपको गाना फ्री देना है कि नहीं देना है। आपको अगर अपॉर्चुनिटी दिखे, यार मेरा गाना जा रहा है बड़ी पिक्चर में, आपकी जिंदगी बन जाएगी, लाइव शोज करते हो या दूसरे और ले लेंगे, तो आप ये गाना इट्स ऑलमोस्ट लाइक सेइंग ये ट्राई एंड बाय। ये आपकी डिसीजन है, ये लेबल की डिसीजन नहीं है, पर लेबल भी ओनस ले सकता है। इन आवर केस वी टेक एन ओनस कि हम पे करते हैं। कभी कभी ऐसा हो सकता है कि वी फील द अपॉर्चुनिटी स्ट्रॉन्गर। ये इंटेंट अगेन गोज बैक टू दैट।
एंड ऑल्सो यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, अलग टाइप के डील्स होते हैं। ओके, एक डील होता है कि हम बहुत पैसा आप पे खर्चा कर रहे हैं, जब तक ये रिकवर नहीं होता है तब तक हम रॉयल्टी नहीं देंगे। ओके, ये एक डील होता है टू विच मंदार इज राइट। आप अग्री करो ना अग्री करो, आपका डिसीजन है। बट इफ यू थिंक द लेबल इज पुटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ मनी, आपको इंस्टेंट यू आर गोइंग टू गेट फॉलोइंग शोज वगैरह, you might agree. So it's up to you. It's a different kind of business model that you will sign to.
You know, it's the classic tale of you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Correct.
and I'm saying this despite having acted for talent most of my career, right? Where they'll always come to me and say, is this good or bad? If you think it's bad, you always have a choice. Don't do it. Don't take it. Luckily, we're also in an environment in the music industry where, as a talent, as an artist, also you have multiple choices. So if
distributor
exactly, or if label A is not paying you and you want to get paid something, there's also label B, C, D, E, right? You pick. That's one way of looking at it. The other is where are you in your career and what's the give and take, right? If today at the beginning of my career, maybe I'm in a position where I'll take that smaller check, or maybe I won't take anything because there's an exchange, right? I'm going to get some marketing, I'm going to get an opportunity, etc. The same artist, and I've seen this, I've lived through the life cycle and careers of so many of them, that I'll notice that 2 years later, 3 years later, I have a very different bargaining power. So there's always a commercial give and take.
To cap that, हम लोग सब जो बैठे हैं, आप इंक्लूसिव समन हियर, कि हम एक अर्ली स्टेज और हमारे करियर में हमने तो सब में जगह फ्री काम की, फ्री इंटर्नशिप की है, लोअर पे लिए, तो इट्स अ लॉजिक
पैसा देके भी काम
हाँ तो भाई तो ये हक का नहीं, ये क्वेश्चन आता है मेरे ख्याल से एंटाइटलमेंट का.
For Priyanka ma'am, how to approach a lawyer as an artist? How is the fee structure a lawyer charges any artist if they want to get assistance on agreement, understanding, or any other legal requirement?
At least as far as I'm concerned, I think all of our information is publicly available. Email us, DM us. I try and respond to DMs wherever I can, as much as I can. So many times people actually send me their queries, and we'll still find a way to respond. So just reach out. You'll find our email, contact number online, and just reach out. To the second part on the fee structure, it unfortunately isn't one size fits all, right? It's like going to a good experienced surgeon and thinking that, they'll have the same rate card irrespective of how complex or not the surgery is. I think it's the same with anyone who's good at their job, right? Today, whether it's about me engaging talent, it's probably the same, right? The rate that applied to them in 2008 probably doesn't apply today. Equally, the bigger they get, the more experience they get, the different their fee structure is. I think it's the same with any service professionals, as is the case with us. But I'll say one thing, which I like saying to a lot of clients: अच्छा सस्ता जल्दी, तीनों मांगकर शर्मिंदा मत करना.
Well said.
Very well said.
We're living in an industry where everything needs to be acha sasta jaldi. And it's always a recipe for disaster. I can tell you in my experience, if you shortchange yourself in the beginning, where you don't want to invest in getting the right sort of advice, I can almost certainly give it to you in writing. You are going to pay for it in some
100%.
other shape or form. Either you're getting some sort of an unexpected hit that you could have been warned against and you didn't want to listen to it at the time, or you're going to end up in litigation. You'll probably pay a lot more than you would have on day one. So it always comes back in some shape or form. I think it's a question of changing your mindset, right? Think of it as A, from a hygiene perspective, and B, that it is an integral part of your team. Just like you have your agent, your manager, your publicist, your stylist, right? Your gym trainer, your nutritionist, you also have your advisor.
True.
So,
Okay. अगला सवाल है मैम आपसे कि Instagram content creators are using songs without any permission. What label should do to protect the IP?
no, they're
taking a license.
They are, like we discussed earlier, the platform is taking a license so that your experience as a user is not compromised.
It
and
must
you
be
can
an upcoming
use
label.
it.
Yeah.
But I do want to clarify, it doesn't cover branded content. That's important because
It's
a lot of
UGC. User generated content.
प्योरली फॉर यूजर जनरेटेड कंटेंट. तो अगर आप कंटेंट क्रिएट कर रहे हैं किसी ब्रांड के लिए या कोई पेड पार्टनरशिप है, तो चांसेस आर कि जो इंस्टाग्राम की कम्युनिटी गाइडलाइंस है, जो उनका लाइसेंस है एट द बैक एंड, वो उस ब्रांडेड यूजेज या कमर्शियल एक्टिविटी को कवर नहीं करेगा, तो उसके लिए आपको सेपरेटली लाइसेंस लेना पड़ेगा।
और अगर आपका गाना ये नहीं, यू हैव द एबिलिटी टू स्ट्राइक इट डाउन, आप करिए।
हाँ, बहुत सारे टूल्स हैं हर एक सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म पे।
जो भी आपका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन पार्टनर होगा या जो भी आपका
नॉट ओनली दैट, आप खुद से कर सकते हो। इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल इंटुइटिव प्रोसेस। हर एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे अगर जाइए, यू गो टू यूट्यूब, इंस्टाग्राम, उधर एक टेक डाउन मैकेनिज्म होता है, उसमें आप आपका रीजन स्टेट करें क्यों आपको लग रहा है कि ये कोई आपके गाने को इन्फ्रिंज कर रहा हो। अगर आप प्रूफ सबमिट कर सकते तो प्रूफ सबमिट करें। दे विल गो बैक एंड फोर्थ एंड इन मोस्ट केसेस इट विल गेट टेकन डाउन। यू हैव एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू रिस्पॉन्ड, टू रिएक्ट टू इट। सो अगेन, यू डोंट नीड अ सीजन्ड लॉयर, इट्स you've got enough tools at your own disposal.
मेरे को एक सवाल बीच में आ रहा है, मैं आपसे भी पूछता हूँ सर कि मान लो मैं एक आर्टिस्ट हूँ एंड मुझे पर्सनली लगता है कि मैं बहुत टैलेंटेड हूँ एंड यू नो दैट्स द फर्स्ट स्टेप फॉर एनीबॉडी, लाइक ऑल ऑफ अस। हम भी जब काम करते थे, बिफोर द वर्ल्ड बिलीव्स इन अस, यू हैव टू बिलीव इन योरसेल्फ, एंड आई कांट अफोर्ड यू और योर सर्विसेज टुडे, एंड बट आई स्टिल वांट टू वर्क विथ यू, provided you like my music, personality, stuff like. Is it possible for somebody like you to help out by charging much lesser or nothing in the beginning, and maybe when we earn, we could pay you? Is it possible?
100%. You know, lesser known fact is, that's how we acted for most of the rappers on Gully Boy. They weren't making any money. Nobody was. And, you know, we were like, we believe in it. We believe in the scene. We want to do it. And we're like, what am I going to charge? What fee will I charge when they're getting paid a token or not getting paid anything, right? We do it till date all the time. I feel whether I do it as part of the firm at KNA or whether I do it as part of Women of Music or in my individual capacity, where there are multiple ways of doing it. And I think it's a two-way street. You know what upsets me or disappoints me in the long run is the amount of times I will go out of my way to champion talent, to stand up for them at the cost of, even in the past in my career, and you're probably even privy to this, being blacklisted, being benched, being made to sit out of deals, for sometimes not even actually having acted for talent, but somebody has just gone and said, ki, हाँ, Priyanka ने बोला है. And I'll find out years later, and somebody's holding this grudge, feeling so disgruntled that how dare she, only to find out years later that
The talent is complaining.
just name dropping, right? Because look, you also need a bad cop. And my job is to be bad cop. So I get. But I think
Welcome to my life.
what disappoints me is that even though we'll go out of our way and do all of that, as soon as things are okay, there's nothing. There's no looking back and there's no
Welcome to the
equity.
music industry.
Yeah.
Welcome to the music industry.
There's no
That is a
equity.
good side. That is a good side.
That means you're growing.
There is also a bad side. Like Hunter S. Thompson once said.
There's very little equity. There's very little integrity. And I say this more, TM, because I also now have a practice that's outside of India, right? I'm spending so much time working in North America, in the UK. And I very strongly feel culturally, we were very badly missing that code of integrity and ethic. And I feel like that's really what we need as a collective to truly go to the next level as an industry.
Yeah, I think just
We love to suck value out of something. We love to
Then
cut
run
people
away.
out. We
Yeah.
just want the information, but don't want to say our thank yous. And it's so disorganized and messy. But at the heart of it, we lack integrity.
Next copyright amendment, we will introduce this term called loyalty, along with royalty.
Yeah. No,
loyalty भी
absolutely.
होना
I think ये बहुत जरूरी बात है because जो लोग ये सुन रहे हैं, आप नेक्स्ट जन हो और आप टैलेंटेड हो, आपको ये गलतियां नहीं करनी चाहिए जो ऑलरेडी लोगों ने की है. एंड आई थिंक जो अतुल ने और प्रियंका ने बता दिया है वो नेसेसरी है कि जिंदगी में कई लोग मिलेंगे आपको, कई लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग वैल्यू होगी जो आपके साथ जर्नी पे जाएंगे और कोई शॉर्ट टर्म है. बट इट इज, आप जब भी ग्रैमी स्पीच देखते हो ना, वो लंबी लंबी या ऑस्कर में बात क्यों करते हैं, वो हमारे लोकल फिल्म स्टार जैसे नहीं है. वो काफ़ी बात करते हैं हम उनके टेक्नीशियन की, उनकी इसकी, बिकॉज उनको कॉग्निशन और रियलिटी है कि हर एक छोटे इसमें से ये गाना क्यों और कैसे बनाए.
True.
एंड दैट जस्ट लॉयल्टी, नॉट इवन रिस्पेक्ट, नॉट इवन recognition, sheer loyalty of recognizing somebody has helped me in that little bridge, may not have been big thing, is very lacking. तो मेरे ख्याल से ये बहुत pertinent है.
Correct.
And Tim, sorry, I'm going to just add one more thing. What is the long-term benefit, right, of having somebody? And I'm going to give you an example. I don't know if everyone knows, but I started my career with Lata Mangeshkar, right, with Didi, and I've had the great privilege of serving her as her advisor for over a decade, right, up till the point that she passed away. You know what those 10, 12 years gave us the opportunity to do was to really make sure that we're able to do justice to her legacy even after she's no longer with us, right? So it's not that legacy is not built overnight. You know, when you want to have generational income, when you want to have really legacy that you're going to pass on to others, and it takes years and years to build. So when you're with somebody and when you think that your advisor is an integral part of that ecosystem, it gives you the opportunity to do so much more over a sustained period of time. So even today, once, you know, even though she's no longer with us, you'll see there's a certain portfolio that's been built. There's a certain way life has been structured. There is so much that's happening today, even as far as the estate itself is concerned. So I just feel like to a lot of artists, there's a longevity that you have to think of that's beyond the shelf life that you have just purely as an artist.
Well said. Okay. अगला सवाल है, qualifications of Priyanka Khimani are LLB and Bachelor in Biotechnology. So did engineering help her anyway in music field late in life?
No, actually.
Terrific question.
Whoever's done their research has done it well. No, it unfortunately did not help me. If at all anything, actually, they were the most painful years of my life as a student. And I wish my professor had understood me better, and that's a whole different story. But what did help me, and I think that's part of my educational qualification as well, is all the time that I spent as a struggling writer, model, theatre actor, assistant, every single odd job that there is to be done on set and in the process of creating art. So I feel that I credit that as my education. Yeah.
And there's another question from the same guy. And her LinkedIn bio states entertainment lawyer and Billboard top music lawyer. What are these terms? This is genuine. I'm not making this up. I can tell you.
Well, they're just recognitions, and I'm happy that I've been recognized as such.
Okay. Congratulations for that. It's a very big achievement. It's a really big recognition.
Thank you.
For Atul sir, how does a fresher enters the market of music publishing, and what's the scope looks like in the current music scenario?
So from a publisher perspective or from a
Publisher.
songwriter perspective?
Music publishing.
See, music publishing, we've explained how difficult it is because of non-compliance, right? And it's good if people come in and join the conversation so that, there is an impression कि ये जो label वाले लोग हैं ना, वो publishing को sandwich करते हैं, right? So the most standalone music publishers who come in, एक आवाज और उठती है, एक अलग फेस दिखता है पब्लिशिंग को रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए. तो ये चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट है. वी आर एक्चुअली बिल्डिंग आउट द फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडियन म्यूजिक पब्लिशर्स नाउ एंड वी आर होपिंग टू गेट अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल ऑन बोर्ड. तो अगर आप पब्लिशिंग में इंटरेस्टेड हैं, आप प्लीज अपनी कंपनी सेटअप करिए and join the Publishers Association so that we can talk to the government, we can talk to IPRS, we can structure some stuff internally to increase the pie for publishing.
तो मैं इसमें एक ऐड करना चाहता हूँ. नॉट एजुकेटेड इन दिस फील्ड, बट एक जेनरिक बात है कि एक नया शहर बन रहा है और उस नए शहर में स्कूल भी खुलेंगे, हॉस्पिटल भी खुलेंगे, रेस्टोरेंट भी खुलेंगे, सब कुछ खुलेंगे. अगर आपने सबसे पहले ज़मीन खरीदी तो ऑब्वियसली बहुत सस्ते दाम में मिलेगी. अगर ये सब कुछ हो गया तो मे बी इट विल राइज 10,000%. पर्सनली आई फील म्यूजिक पब्लिशिंग इज इन दैट स्टेज राइट नाउ कि आज म्यूजिक पब्लिशिंग में बहुत कम लोग हैं, स्पेसिफिकली इंडिपेंडेंट म्यूजिक पब्लिशर. बट द डे इट राइजेज एंड इट इज बाउंड टू राइज, देयर इज नो अदर ऑप्शन. 5 साल लगेंगे, 10 साल लगेंगे. यू हैव टू हैव द पेशेंस एंड पैशन एंड यू हैव टू वेट एंड पुट इन एफर्ट. बट जिस दिन वो राइज होगा उस दिन एंट्री करना मुश्किल होगा और कॉस्टली होगा.
नो, आई डोंट थिंक सो. देखिए, इतने आर्टिस्ट हैं, राइट? आज 1,20,000 गाने दिन के रिलीज हो रहे थ्रू ह्यूमन बीइंग्स. AI is generating
Through human beings,
800. No, because AI is generating
Now
800.
we have to
We have to clarify.
clarify that.
Because 120 from here, AI 864,000 songs every day from basically 3 companies. Do you know that?
What?
Yes. Okay. From 3 companies, 864,000 new songs
Every day.
by AI against 120,000 songs by human beings.
Which where are they getting released?
So they're coming out, right? So on various platforms, on various things. So the point is कि इनकी भी publishing तो होगी ना. So don't think this is just going to die. This is going to grow.
No, that's what I'm saying. It is bound to grow. There's no option.
Yeah.
Okay. अगला सवाल है changes in the publishing business from 90s to present.
The thing is that India is a country that grew on record labels. 1901 Saregama, record label. 1932 Mr. Saha's in Reco, record label. Polydor came in, record label from CBS came in, record label. So only till the year 2000 there were only labels. Tips, T-Series, Venus came up. वो अपनी रिकॉर्डिंग करते थे, रिकॉर्डिंग का पब्लिशिंग राइट रखते थे. दे वर नॉट ट्रू पब्लिशर्स, राइट. पब्लिशिंग की बात शुरू हुई एंड यू हैव टू क्रेडिट अशील फॉलो फॉर दिस, राइट. एंड ही स्टार्टेड रिप्रेजेंटिंग, no, he started representing Delphine.
Oh.
So we were in Virgin at the time. He represented Delphine, which was Richard Clayderman's label. He came to Virgin and said, I want mechanical royalties. So हमने mechanical royalties pay करना शुरू किया. Then he went to BMG. And as luck would have it, I was in Saregama at the time. So Saregama started paying mechanical royalties too. So he helped establish mechanicals in India.
Yeah, I think it's important to
Acknowledge
that contribution of Ashil.
Ashil did a lot of work, right? And, you know, so one understood what he was talking about, etc., etc. So at that time, the knowledge wasn't there in the labels about publishing. So I think he helped start it. I think people like us contributed a little bit to kind of establishing the fact that there was a separate publishing business. The labels resisted because obviously they were used to a certain style of operation. Labels resisted for a while. And then even they changed. And then the 2012 amendment happened. So now publishing is established and the same labels that you're accusing of pushing down the publishing business have fought all the battles. They have paid for all the legal cases to establish publishing. So publishing today is as important for the labels as the record business is. So it's changed for the better. There is no conflict today.
I also think if you look at a crystal ball, and I think ये अगले काफी सालों में it will be necessary for the label to run two businesses like how it is in the West. वो तो होना ही है.
It's going to be inevitable.
Because हमारी industry अभी just from being a embedded right is turning into an industry of writers. और ये इंडस्ट्री बढ़ रही है जैसे नॉन फिल्म बढ़ता जाएगा ये जो पब्लिशिंग राइट की वैल्यू है वो ज़्यादा बढ़ेगी rather than the film. So from just being an administrative blended right ये सेपरेट होता है और जैसे अलग अलग धंधे होते हैं ये राइट्स अनलॉक हो जाएंगे तो इट्स एन इनएविटेबिलिटी.
सर अगला क्यूट सवाल है कि आपने बीए किया इकोनॉमिक्स में. सो परस्यूइंग आर्ट्स in that point of time was a tough decision as it is today also. What presumption we have today कि arts लेके क्या ही होना है, कोई काम नहीं देगा तुझे, भूखा मरेगा, and music को बस as a hobby ही रखो, mainstream करने का कोई फायदा नहीं है and many more.
I think Mandar answered that earlier. कि देखो आपका इंटरेस्ट क्या है, आप करना क्या चाहते हो, maybe it will take you time to figure it out. Right? I think I was very lucky because in those days you had to do a college degree. तो हमने कर दी economics. I had an option of doing English in Stevens, which I actually should have done. I got scared because there were 24 girls in the class and 6 guys. I said यहाँ पे तो पढ़ाई लिखाई होनी नहीं है.
डरने की क्या बात है?
पढ़ाई लिखाई कहाँ होनी थी? तो the reason I joined college was for a graduate degree. Anyway, so I come from a family which was slightly educated. तो मुझे लिखने का शौक था. तो मैं जर्नलिस्ट बन गया. Okay, I loved that. I loved music. I got into the music business. So there was no career planning. There was nothing. It was purely by accident. And I loved the music business. But I'm so fortunate that I found a profession in my passion. I work, pick a number, between 12 and 15 hours a day, right? I don't feel it. It's not work for me. I enjoy it. So find your calling, find what you're passionate about. If you can make it your profession, that's it. Don't worry about arts and science and commerce.
True. Okay, Mandar, for you, what's the role of marketing in music nowadays? It is important. Is it important than making a good song? Can a good marketing campaign make an average song super hit?
No.
एक word में agreed. Absolutely not. The role of marketing, I think, is दो चीजें हैं कि एक तो I think that simple answer no. गाना अगर बढ़िया ना हो, गाना अगर अच्छा नहीं है, कुछ भी मार्केटिंग उसको सेल नहीं कर सकती है. Yes, there are occasional cases, but then that's subjective, right? दूसरी चीज है कि role of marketing in a song is different from role of marketing for an artist. गाने की इतना today I genuinely feel that the supply is far more than the demand.
Demand, of course.
गाने को ये बॉईल करके ऊपर लाने के लिए, जैसे अभी अतुल बात कर रहे थे कि इतने हजारों लाखों में डेली गाने हैं, तो वो तुम्हारे गाने को ऊपर लाने के लिए रिसोर्स लगता है, टाइम लगता है, रिलेशनशिप लगता है, पैसे लगते हैं. तो यूट्यूब हो, इंस्टाग्राम हो, इस पे बॉईल करने के लिए, दिखाने के लिए अच्छा मेरा भी गाना है, विजिबिलिटी इज नंबर 1. But marketing of an artist is very different from marketing of a song. So that is more a longer term process. Yeah.
Okay. How to change the current scenario of audience reluctant to pay and buy concert tickets? How to improve that?
Like we were talking earlier, right, about the venues also. I think it's socio-cultural. It's just that, right? I think the current generation and the younger generation believes that they want to invest in an experience.
I think she's right, 200%. कि every year there is a new consumer born, और एक टाइम पे जो हम बोलते थे कि यार मैं गाना नहीं खरीदूंगा, वो कल्चर बदल रहा है. And I think, and again this is from everyone, it is boldly said, it's such a big myth कि Indians don't pay. Yes, of course we are lethargic to pay because we are searching for value. और वो वैल्यू हर एक जनरेशन के साथ अलग अलग डिफाइन होती है. सोशो कल्चरली ये जनरेशन लाइक्स टू सपोर्ट आर्टिस्ट, दे लाइक टू पुट थिंग्स इन. ये बदलते जाएगा.
And you look at it, आपने किया था, you did the Sunidhi show, you did the Badshah show, right? When we were sitting at Sunidhi's show, right? You just felt that you talk about Taylor Swift and all that. The presentation that Sunidhi did with probably minimal production behind her as compared to a Taylor Swift, right? It was an experience that must have been much better. I've never been to a Taylor Swift concert, but I'm sure the experience was far better. As an artist, what she delivered, right? So it's not just in the pyrotechnics of what you're presenting, it's also the way the artist is presenting himself and herself. That's the experience. I would pay anything to see Sunidhi again.
So I have a completely different take on this. There are different additional take on this. I think it's the biggest opportunity. Because जो चीज़ें करना मुश्किल होता है, अगर आपने वो क्रैक किया, तो it's a game changer. And fortunately in my career, I've tried that to do 20 times. But 3 or 4 times it really happened. It happened with All About Music. We are all, privy to that generally people don't like to pay for conferences tickets. But in our conference, more than 95% people come by paying because we never give a free pass. And there was a very tough call. Same Arijit has happened, the kind of tickets he sold. Sunidhi, you gave an example. Badshah, Amit Trivedi, there are a lot of examples where, but it doesn't happen overnight. You have to put in a lot of energy, lot of strategy, lot of marketing, lot of promotion, lot of restriction on yourself because you will be pressurized, for these things. And fortunately, right now there are ticketing platforms, and the younger audience is starting to pay. Whoever has asked this question, you'll be surprised by the number of tickets international acts sell in India now. 10-10, 15-15, 20-20 करोड़ की टिकटें बिकती है एक शो की.
Look at Ed Sheeran.
Yeah,
that is amazing. So Mandar said it. It's about providing the value.
Correct. If you are able to convince a customer कि ये value है, people.
It's the experience. And if you look at shows also today, and in fact we were talking about that, All About Music में perhaps it's a point of discussion. Experiential shows versus music shows. Because everything is now turning into an experience. It's really grand.
Experience. It is experience because मैं 4 घंटे अपनी लाइफ के निकाल के आया हूँ.
Correct.
और मैं 2000, 5000, 10,000, 1000 रुपए दूँ, मैं क्यों दूँ? मतलब it's as simple as that. Okay, the guest questions are over. तो सर मेरा 2-3 और इम्पोर्टेंट सवाल है। पहला सवाल तो प्रियंका इफ यू कैन एक्सप्लेन, एनीवन इन यूके, कि बहुत सारे आर्टिस्ट हमसे बोलते हैं कि हम कवर वर्जन्स डालते हैं और हमारा टेक डाउन हो जाता है और कॉपीराइट क्लेम आता है एंड तो क्या वो करना अलाउड है? और कभी-कभी हम मैशअप करते हैं कि एक दो लेवल का गाना मिक्स करके हमने बनाया, कभी कोई इंटरनेशनल हिंदी इंग्लिश गाना मिक्स करके बनाया, तो वो कितना प्रैक्टिकल है, अलाउड है? व्हाट इज द साइंस बिहाइंड दैट?
Right, so this is one of my favorite ones, right? Cover versions, क्योंकि cover versions को लेके बहुत सारे artists को बहुत upset feel करते हैं, बहुत disappointed feel करते हैं कि how dare my song got taken down. Simple question that I ask every artist is, what if this was your original song that somebody else had covered? Where would you stand on this, right? So go back to the beginning of our chat. We discussed copyright. We discussed what are the rights that are
Right to
associated.
adapt, adaptation, correct.
Now, but for cover versions, right, there is a special category of license that ordinarily should be made available. Even under Indian copyright law, उसको एक statutory license कहा जाता है, statutory license to make cover versions. I think before the amendment, there used to be a more robust mechanism in place. Unfortunately, since the amendment, हमारे पास in theory एक mechanism है, पर हम उसको implement कर नहीं पाए हैं पूरी तरह से for a variety of reasons. But the long and short answer is, to do a cover version also, you will need permission from whoever owns the rights. Now, whether the rights are with the author or with the publisher is something you will have to find out and investigate. पर इसकी rights होना ज़रूरी है. एक दूसरी चीज़, आजकल के ज़माने में most cover versions जो होते हैं, they're not just audio. तो अगर वो statutory license लेना भी हो, it still won't cover the visual element of it, right? हमारे वहाँ जो cover versions हैं, we'll always see that there's a separate visualization on it.
Correct.
So which means that you also have separately synchronization involved. So you have to get a specific license, you have to negotiate it. For the most part, जो UGC platforms हैं, because वो platforms licenses लेते हैं, you'll see on Instagram usually a cover version will stay online, right? When you'll do a story or it's in the form of a reel, etc. Because the platform has a license. On other platforms like, say for example, YouTube, it's the other way around. So even if you've put up a cover version, either the rights holder जो है वो उसको monetize कर सकते हैं, या तो जो rights holder है उसको कहेंगे कि no, this is infringement, मुझसे किसी ने permission नहीं लिया, so I'm going to strike it down.
But आजकल थोड़ा favorable है, take down थोड़ा कम होता है आजकल, मतलब
I think it also boils down to कि कौन cover version कर रहा है, how popular is the cover version, is it doing well, is it getting the eyeballs, and think of it logically, right? अगर मैं rights holder हूँ and somebody is popularizing my song by way of a cover version, I might want to just let it stay online so long as I can monetize it. So there's always the consideration, the choice is with the rights holder to decide whether or not to take it down or to continue monetizing it.
ये information है वो गलत दी गई है because like I said, गधों को गधों की बात समझे तो वो labels are against artists. It's like that. But I think
sir,
हाँ,
Estonia and Gada.
Gada.
ये दोनों words बहुत use किए.
But
Gada
no,
से
I believe, look, I mean, we are in a passionate industry and I think one should speak out. I think if people speak out, it works. Because इसमें क्या होता है ना कि ये हमारी कल्चरल खराबी है कि मेरा हक बनता है कवर वर्जन करने का, ये मेरा गाना है. आई एम जस्ट रिस्पॉन्डिंग टू द क्वेश्चन. अरे यार आप चोर हो क्या? ये आपका गाना कैसे बन गया? पहले आपने दूसरे किसी का गाना गाया है, पहला उसका हक बनता है. ये पूरा जो पॉडकास्ट है, वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि इट इज अबाउट राइट्स, इट इज अबाउट आपका गाना है. अगर आपने गाना बनाया और आपका गाना लाइक प्रियंका सेड दूसरे किसी ने 10 साल बाद में किया, आपको कैसे लगेगा? दूसरी चीज है आपका गाना हो जो आपने लिखा है, आपने अगर वर्जन किया वो आपका गाना बिल्कुल नहीं बनता है, वो आप बिल्कुल क्लियर रहिए. तीसरी चीज है, आई थिंक our industry for the last 30 years has suffered because of cover versions also.
Yeah.
Because हर एक बाप उसके बच्चे को बोलता है भाई रफी की तरह तू गाता है. ये गलत है. ओरिजिनलिटी जो है ना वो दूसरे के गाने से नहीं बनती है, वो खुद के गाने से बनती है. So today for even the artists that we manage, I would really be hopeful that we sell an entire show basis their original songs. और ये originality encourage नहीं की ना तो ये गलत होता है. आई थिंक दैट इज द थिंग विच इज व्हाई टुडे आफ्टर ट्राइंग फॉर years and years of indie music, indie pop, independent. आज थोड़ा सा platform मिल गया है. The second part, I think, is the UGC usage, जिसके लिए आपका हक नहीं, वो प्लेटफॉर्म एक्चुअली राइट्स ओनर्स को कॉम्पेंसेट कर रहा है ताकि आप वर्जन बना सके. तो वो फ्री नहीं आता है, कोई ना कोई उसके पैसे भर देता है.
बट मंदा, सो आई जस्ट वांट टू आल्सो मेक द पॉइंट. हमने अभी बात करी थी 88 वर्सेस 12. साउंड रिकॉर्डिंग को 88, पब्लिशिंग को 12. आप बिना परमिशन के कवर वर्जन बना रहे हैं और सोच रहे हैं कि उसको तो 12 रुपए मिल रहे हैं, तो मैं अपने 88 तो ले लेता हूँ. You see? And if you say, why is the label objecting? Why won't the label object?
Of course.
You're not following the law. आप परमिशन नहीं ले रहे हो. इन्होंने बोला परमिशन लेनी जरूरी है. बिना परमिशन के आप 88% ले रहे हो और बोल रहे हो ओरिजिनल को 12 रुपए दे दो. That's not fair.
और जैसे हम कवर वर्जन्स में भी ना दो तरीके के कवर्स हम यूजुअली देखते हैं व्हेन पीपल गेट अपसेट अबाउट इट, राइट. वन इज अगर कोई थर्ड पार्टी किसी और का गाना कवर कर रहा है, in which case we've discussed ki you have to have a license. The other category is actually the one where people get super angry, is when the author
Original.
himself wants to do a cover and is told that no, you cannot because you also need a license. The simple explanation is, again, going back to the beginning of this conversation, ownership and authorship. You could have composed the song, but if you've given up your rights and today you want to yourself create an adaptation of it, of course you're going to need permission from whoever has the rights currently. So that's the chaos around cover versions explained.
ओके, अब एडिशनल क्वेश्चन जो हम ऑफलाइन बात कर रहे हैं सर, हमने एक्चुअली मिस किया कि मास्टर राइट्स और पब्लिशिंग राइट्स, ये जो अंडरलाइंग राइट्स है, ये कितने साल तक का राइट्स होता है? कितने साल तक आपका मालिकाना हक
So
होता है?
sound recording में 60 साल from the year of release.
ओके,
Underlying works का 60 years after the death of the last of the composers.
So
लास्ट ऑफ द कंपोजर्स
It is
मतलब अगर
60
एक
So देखिए, अब जैसे मजू सुल्तानपुरी और कल्याण जी आनंद जी का गाना था. Okay, मजू साहब passed away in the 90s, I think. So did Kalyan ji bhai. Anand ji bhai still alive. Copyright will last in that composition lyrics until 60 years after Anand ji bhai passes away.
60 years following the year in which the author passes away.
Superior copyright.
पोस्ट दैट इट कम्स टू द पब्लिक डोमेन.
Correct.
Then it will become like your folk music.
करेक्ट. सो लेट्स अज्यूम फोक म्यूजिक या पब्लिक डोमेन के गाने यूज करते हैं, तो बहुत बार आर्टिस्ट ये बोलते हैं कि यार ये फोक म्यूजिक है, पंजाबी है, हरियाणवी है, असमीज है, बंगाली है, किसी भी तरीके का फोक म्यूजिक है. किसी लेबल ने उस फोक म्यूजिक को यूज करके गाना बना लिया और यूट्यूब के फिंगरप्रिंट या किसी के फिंगरप्रिंट में वो गाना पकड़ा जाता है, तो आर्टिस्ट आर सेइंग कि यार ये फोक म्यूजिक आपका कैसे हो गया, तो वो टेक डाउन होता है, उसका क्या कर सकते हैं? इज देयर अ सोल्यूशन टू दिस?
You have to fight it in court.
Yeah.
Not in either in court or, I mean, we face this every single time. You have to respond to it, send a response to the cease and desist, query it, question it, and this is it's unfortunate, but it is a practice in our country that somebody who's made a version of that folk song will then just want to claim complete exclusivity over that folk song itself. The exclusivity can be in your version
Correct.
of that folk
The
song.
master that you've created.
राइट. सो मेनी टाइम्स हम जिन्होंने फोक सॉन्ग क्रिएट किया है या जो यूज करना चाहते हैं और जिनको ये इन्फ्रिंजमेंट का नोटिस मिला है, हम पहले उनसे पूछते हैं कि आपने क्या यूज किया है. हैव यू एक्चुअली यूज द फोक सॉन्ग एंड कम अप विथ योर वर्जन ऑफ इट, और आर यू यूजिंग देयर वर्जन ऑफ द फोक सॉन्ग इन समथिंग दैट यू आर डूइंग? There's a distinction between the two, right? But the simple answer is just because someone took it down or is saying, hey, I own the rights, is not the end of the road. You can respond to it. One of the simplest ways is to just do a Google search. You will find versions. The trick is to find a version that predates the version that somebody else is claiming rights in. And like we know, a lazy person is not going to do it. An
So
active
just
person
also
will
to
do it.
add to that, जो हम ये metadata standardization कर रहे
Just
हैं ना,
about to add to that. Yes.
हम उसमें we are trying to address this so that when you arrange a traditional work normally, there is a royalty that goes to the new arranger. हम बोल रहे हैं उसको एक नया ISWC दे दो, credit the person with a part of the composition so that there's no conflict. So we're trying to address that.
And I think ये टाइम पे ये बात जरूरी है to all the younger composers listening today कि 100 साल पहले किसने कुछ जो सोचा नहीं था ना, मेटाडेटा तभी था ही नहीं, ये अगर आप आज नहीं करोगे तो 100 साल बाद में दूसरे किसका प्रॉब्लम होगा. एंड आई थिंक ये जो हम बोलते हैं ना लॉयल्टी, ये जो बोलते हैं काम करना पड़ता है, थिंक बियॉन्ड योरसेल्फ, इट इज फॉर दीज वेरी रीजंस कि आपको रॉयल्टी भी मिलेगी पर मोस्ट ऑफ इट यू विल नेवर एंजॉय द फ्रूट्स, बट इट इज फॉर फ्यूचर जनरेशंस एंड योर ओन heirs.
मेरे आखिरी 2 सवाल है और तीनों को जवाब देने. पहली चीज, इफ you can change one thing in the music industry, what will be that most important thing which you would like to change?
From my perspective at least, you only want one thing, so I can't put one priority, but I think there are 2 or 3 issues that need to be addressed. The first is the pricing model of the streaming services. क्योंकि मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ आज सेम प्लेटफॉर्म्स जो बिजनेस चला रहे हैं वो कंप्लेन कर रहे हैं, उनको प्रॉब्लम है. लेबल्स कंप्लेन कर रहे हैं, उनको पैसा नहीं मिल रहा, दे नॉट एबल टू रिकवर, यू नो दैट. आर्टिस्ट कंप्लेन कर रहे हैं, उनको पैसा नहीं मिल रहा. तो अगर तीनों पार्टीज कंप्लेन कर रही हैं तो कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम होगी. लेकिन हम एक साथ बैठ के बात क्यों नहीं करते कि देखो ये जो प्राइसिंग मॉडल है इसमें कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, लेट अस ट्राई समथिंग डिफरेंट. No conversation happens. So I'd like to see a conversation around that, so that we are able to build a more robust business model so that we are not complaining. So that's one. Second is I would like to see reinstatement of the copyright board. Right? बातें चल रही हैं. All our copyright contests, the fights happen in courts. Right? Madras High Court says yes to something, Delhi High Court says no to the same thing. Right? 17 साल रेडियो वर्सेस IPRS, 17 साल. It's not a joke. How many composers have died without their royalties in these 17 years? It's not fair. When there is an institution in every country, a tribunal that governs copyright, we had one. We had the copyright board. लेकिन उसको 2016 या 17 में फाइनेंस बिल्स के अंदर सब ट्राइब्यूनल्स को स्क्रैप कर दिया फॉर सम फाइनेंशियल रीजंस. हमारा बोर्ड भी लपेटे में आ गया. Okay, I'm saying let's as an industry fight to reinstate it because it has nothing to do with finance. Lekin it will take the pressure off the courts. We'll stop conflicting judgments. We'll get quick judgments from a copyright board. So those are the 2 things that I want to see.
And my only hope
Both
is
are very important.
Yeah, and my only hope is that we actually have specialists as part of the board instead of just pure executives, because that's the other big problem in a lot of the courts. Unfortunately, you don't have judges who are trained in a specific subject. You'll see it in certain countries where judges who are experts in that particular matter are listening to matters on that subject. We don't have that here, and that's again a reason for a lot of the conflicting judgments, for it not having the level of importance or priority in the larger scheme of things. तो बहुत सारी चीजें just linger for years and years and years, and we operate in this, obscurity, saying हाँ ऐसे कर लेते हैं अभी.
So if we had a powerful copyright board, like she said, there are judges who are well versed in copyright. There are permanent positions over there.
Yeah.
ये लोग फटाफट आपको जजमेंट्स देंगे. ये जो 17 साल के केसेस है 2 महीने में हो जाएंगे.
Hoping manifest करते हैं.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
No, we should try. As an industry, we should try.
It's absolutely important.
And I think all of us should try to get more money for music. If people start paying for music, labels, streaming platforms, artists, everybody's going to benefit eventually. Yeah.
I'd also want to add that originality as a concept, and I really hope that for music, and this is for musicians, that we get away from a orchestra mentality of saying मुझे ये गाना कवर करना है, ये करना है, because I think originality जो है ना long term career build करती है. Owning something, owning your voice. In fact, I was seeing, the whole Arijit tour का जो YouTube पे है, और एक छोटा सा ना उसमें 60 second या 90 seconds का interview clip है जहाँ पे he speaks, and that really was so strong that most people would be watching the performance but they miss the mudda. कि you need to own that freaking song. You don't need to sing it. It's not about the scale. It's not about the composition. You need to own that song. And that is called originality. Everything we've discussed today, everything literally comes down to that.
That's correct.
And that originality today, if you look at almost, and this data will show you, data beta gap bhar mein, aap gaane playlist pe sun lo, you will find every language, Punjabi ho, Haryanvi ho, Bhojpuri ho, carbon copy, Xerox copy maar rahe. या तो आर्टिस्ट उतने ही है, या तो गाना वही स्टाइल में है. इधर ओरिजिनलिटी कहाँ पे है पता नहीं आ रही है. And that is the reason why today, if you look at all of these industries that I mentioned or the languages, आपके जो superstars हैं ना, वो बहुत कम है. You can count them literally on one hand. The rest are transient, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year careers.
True.
Yeah.
True. I wish all these changes do happen. My last question. What are the opportunities currently with you as an individual and with your company, which anybody who is seeing this podcast can check and grab those opportunities, and how to reach out to you guys for that?
I think as a business, as a label or a publisher, or now recently on management of talent, you will look for writers one. And I think ये पूरी इंडस्ट्री में बहुत कमजोरी है राइट सॉन्ग राइटर्स की, या है अवेलेबिलिटी, पर जो हमारे साइट में आते हैं वो उतने as much as they should come in our site, they're not coming in our site. वो एक, and that is an A&R need. And likewise, artists who are artists for artists' sake. Not saying some art film type something, not seeing any, but आजकल ना सारे आर्टिस्ट को लग रहा है कि instant success, Instagram पे वो थोड़े ऐसे वैसे फेस कर लो, 10 million की views कर लो. We're actually not at all looking for artists like that. You want to look for artists that you feel have a longer term, people who understand a slow build up, people who are not in a mad rush, like you said some time back. We have a phenomenal talent like Adidar, and we've been managing her without announcing this for the last 4 years. And we had incredible patience till Kant Phut Gaya. And now the voice is brilliant, literally. And that is the kind of patience we have. And if artists are there that are willing to and who are that level of talent in whichever field, either composer or performer or, I think you'll find people wanting for that. And number 3 is executive talent as well. I mean, quite honestly, to find a marketing person these days is incredibly hard. Because हर कोई आता है वो marketing, digital marketing करता है.
Correct.
यार digital marketing तो अभी it's become like a carbon copy यार. What happened to good old marketing, which is about creating, shouting from the top of a building? How do you find the means and the ability and the personality to do that? I think ये दो चीजें we are certainly.
And let's assume I'm that guy, one of these. How do I reach out to you? What's the best way?
I think if it's executive talent, certainly LinkedIn, or
Not
you
just
know,
a high.
certainly not a high. Don't just throw your CV. Nobody's got time to look at your beautiful Shakespearean CV. Nobody's got time. I mean, यार थोड़ा सा आप अगर marketing के लिए apply कर रहे हो तो थोड़ी तो innovation दिखाओ यार. What will make out of 20 CVs? What will make your CV or your mail stand out? I think that speaks a lot. DMs होते हैं काफी. But having said that, I wish even for Times Music we have a better system to accept demos. वो अभी we are working on it, but I wish we keep
You
refining.
active on Instagram?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm active. The company is active. A lot of people are active.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Priyanka?
So, we didn't get a chance to actually talk about it at all during the podcast, but कुछ महीनों पहले मैंने एक foundation set up किया है called Women of Music India. And again, जो लोग मुझे काफ़ी अरसे से जानते हैं, they know that it's one thing that I have been passionate about, because very often, for most of my career at least, I have really been the only woman in many rooms. Till date, I am usually the only woman, the only Indian in a lot of rooms, and I know there's many more of us. So I've set up Women of Music India as a foundation. This is something that I have personally put a lot of my own time, money, resources behind. And it's wonderful कि it's only been a few months, but I think मुझे industry से already काफ़ी support मिला है from a lot of the global companies that have presence in India, and everybody else, they've gotten their workforce to sign up. और हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं जितना कर सके उतना हम जितनी भी women हैं म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री में, वो चाहे आर्टिस्ट हो, एग्जीक्यूटिव हो, अकाउंटिंग में हो, HR में हो, मार्केटिंग में है, PR में है, जो भी आपका रोल है, आपको हम आपको कैसे हेल्प कर सकते हैं. एंड इट्स 2 things mainly, नेटवर्किंग एंड क्रिएटिंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज एंड एजुकेशन, राइट. इनफैक्ट इसके लिए there's no registration fee, there's nothing, all you have to do is go sign up. So the one thing that I would really want is to really have more women come and volunteer. It's a mammoth task, it's a big country. I get so much feedback, and a lot of people have opinions about acha isko aise karna chahiye, why is it not in this city, and what about this, and oh it's so, it's a certain way and it doesn't cater. But I just want to say it's very easy to give opinions. It's a whole different ballgame to actually roll up your sleeves and do it. So I can't have enough and more volunteers at this point to really come and do good heavy lifting, right? Whether it's social media, PR, good music journalists, people who want to come and conduct workshops, people who want to help drive memberships. There's lots to do within it. So yeah, anyone who's listening and watching and wants to help, give me a helping hand, please reach out to us. We have our website, womenofmusicindia.com, or you can just write to us, DM us on Instagram or LinkedIn. So that'll be incredibly helpful.
Fantastic. There are 3 women in music, women of music here. Any one of you want to join, please do that as well. Atul sir?
So I think I pretty much reflect what Mandar said about wanting to find talent that stands out as unique. And I've got a little bit of a peculiarity on that one. I want to find talent that's singing in English, because we are hoping that we'll be able to do some kind of collaborations with these publishers that we work with. And while, yes, of course, Hindi is there, and it will always be there in regional languages, but I think one would like to also explore the option of getting English singing artists working with other artists from other countries who are also doing English.
I have one. That
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. So I think that is one thing that I kind of look forward to. If you want to reach out to us. And the other thing is lyrics. I've said this to a lot of our artists. All our lyrics seem to be centered around I love you, you love me, let's go run around a tree. That's really the universe of our lyrics. And when you look at sync, you are asking about sync, what are the subject matters? There are many different ways in which to express love, which are interesting. I told you, I was just judging that indies thing. I found this one band, what beautiful lyrics. And the way you say simple things with a different imagery, that I think is lacking. Whether it's in Hindi, whether it's in English, any language. The ability to write lyrics out of the box. So, just, right? So he came, he hugged me during, you remember sir, all about music, and all. I didn't remember who he was. And suddenly this song goes around called Chor. I heard it, I said, this boy has something, he can write lyrics. His lyrics are different, individuality again, what you said.
Yeah.
Have the ability to write about different things, different forms of expression. The world is way beyond I love you, you love me. All the sync deals that we get, nobody's ever asked for a I love you, you love me song. Nobody's interested. So learn to write better lyrics. And if you want to get in touch with us, we have our website, the email ID, info@turnkeymusic.in. I mean, that's it. That's the best place to get us.
Okay, fantastic. I think this was one of the longest podcasts we've shot. And
If it wasn't the longest, let's carry on a little more. You have to go for the record.
ये अच्छा था. शेर अभी बूढ़ा नहीं हुआ है. I can't thank you guys enough. In fact, मेरे को ना एक रिफ्रेश भी हो गए हम लोग सब लोग मिलके. और ये इम्पॉसिबल है एक पॉडकास्ट पे ये सारी चीजें डिमिस्टिफाई करना. बट मैं जो भी ये पॉडकास्ट देख रहे हैं या सुन रहे हैं उनको यही बोलूंगा कि प्लीज आप इस पॉडकास्ट को ना फाइनल आंसर मत समझिए. दिस इज नॉट एन आंसर टू समथिंग. वी आर जस्ट गिविंग यू अ हिंट, द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर, ढांचा ऑफ द कोर इम्पॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स, इश्यूज, वैल्यूज, एवरीथिंग. एक बार जब आप ये पूरा अच्छे से समझ जाएंगे तो अगर आप गूगल पे भी सर्च करेंगे, चैट जीपीटी पे भी मारेंगे, बुक्स हैं बहुत सारे, आर्टिकल्स हैं बहुत सारे, और जो फ्री भी है, उसमें पैसा भी नहीं लगेगा, तो आपको समझ में आएगा कि वो बोलना क्या चाहते हैं, करना क्या चाहते हैं. और जब आप इस इन्फॉर्मेशन को यूज करके प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में डील करना शुरू करेंगे तो आपको सब कुछ समझ में आने लगेगा और आप अपनी एक एजम्पशन और एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग उसके लिए बना सकोगे. इट विल बी इजी फॉर यू टू डील. करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग. ओके, थैंक यू सो मच मंदार, थैंक यू सो मच प्रियंका, थैंक यू अतुल सर, थैंक यू फॉर मेकिंग इट सो वंडरफुल. I am 100% sure this podcast is going to be a must watch for all artists and executives. Whoever they are, wherever they are in the music business, is going to help them for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.